I'm Leonie from the Woolbaa, and I'm going to show you how to knit in the round using circular needles. There's heaps of projects where you're going to want to learn to knit a circle or to knit in the round. These hand warmers, for instance, they're made in the round. For these, because it was a tiny little circle, I prefer to use double-pointed needles, and we covered that on another video. Today's one is going to be about knitting with circular needles. Now for this one, I've used a very short one. I've gone 40 centimeters from tip to tip, and I've got enough stitches that I can stretch them to the point of both needles. So let's get started. Same as knitting with double pointeds, you have to make sure that you don't have any twists in this row, so I can't have anything flipped over like that. They all have to be pointing in the same direction. And I have both of the needles with the stitches at the end. And you can see that's quite comfortable. So I was planning to make a baby beanie with this. To knit into the first stitch, I have to just make sure, knit in carefully, the first stitch of the cast on row, and just double check, always double check that you've got no twists around there. So here we go, knitting into the first one. And it's transferred from left needle to right needle. And this is the way we're going to go, carefully, all the way around, making sure that there's no little twists as we go. And pushing the needle, the stitches on the left needle getting pushed up to the tip all the time. And at the same time, we're pulling them down on the right needle. And constantly you're going to be going towards the left needle. So you're knitting in one direction only. And now we're knitting into the last stitch of that round, and I can tell because I've got the tail happening here. And then what I'm going to do is slip a little marker onto the needle so that I can remind myself that the round is about to start again, that I'm coming to the end of one and starting another. Now at this point, just double check before we knit another round that we haven't got any little twists. So I've got them all facing the same way still, because it's still possible to put a nasty little turn in there. So they're all facing towards the center, and I'll now knit into the first stitch of the next row and then keep going. And you can see what's happening. This little marker that's telling me where the start of the row is going to move around. It's going to travel all the way around to the beginning again. So just watch as I knit around what happens. And now I can see that I'm getting towards the end of my row, because not only have I got the tail, but I've also got that marker that was on my needle. So I'm going to knit into that first one, the last one rather, travel the marker over to the right needle and just double check that all of my stitches are still facing the same way. You might think I'm paranoid about this, but I've been caught out. So at this point I could still do a twist. It's important that I just, for a few rows, double check. As you go further up the work you won't need to. So now I've gone into the first couple of stitches of the next row, and so far it looks fairly safe. Probably the next row I won't have to check as keenly, but it won't hurt to do it anyway. So once I get up about that far, I don't need to be checking at all. So as you can see, we're knitting in the round quite happily. So that's a fun thing to do, great for beanies. Wow, look at all the skills you're getting, and isn't it fun? If you've liked this video, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and have your notifications turned on, then you'll be told every time I make a new video.